All right. Well, here are your quizzes from yesterday. Let's see. Your overall average was 78.6, so pretty good. Okay, there were several common mistakes made that I saw as I went through them. Did we have any questions? Hey, let's do the Venn diagram. Now, in order to do the Venn diagram, let's go ahead and talk about the sets that we have. I was given a solution set for the universe, all x such that x is between 1 included and 17, where x belongs to what? What does that n mean? The counting numbers, okay, are natural numbers, or in IB we can call them cardinal numbers, yes. So this first one right here, this was just everything 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, and I cannot include 17 because it is strictly less than. Okay. Now, all three of these were told P, Q, and R, they're subsets of U. So remember, that's another way of saying that it's a group within a group. Okay. So what would be the factors or elements, I should say, for P? 4. And I can't go any further. Okay. Because that is the only numbers that are multiples of 4 that belongs to the universe. And then factors of 36. Okay, well, I have 1 goes in there, 2, 3, 4, okay, 6, 9, 12. And was that the last one? Yes, now there's 2 other factors, but remember, this universe only goes up to 16. We're strictly less than 17. Okay, so can't go any further than that. And then R equals square numbers. There you go. So we're talking about numbers that are perfect squares. So Reese tells me 1 and 16. Okay. So what I want to go ahead and do is create a Venn diagram based on that. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and draw 3 circles here. Let's say this is P, this is Q, and this is R. So the first thing I would do is kind of just work from the inside out. Is there any one element that is in every group?
4.
Okay, 4. Okay, everybody know we at least see 4? Okay, so I'm going to put 4 right here. The intersection of all 3 of those right in the dead center. Okay. And then I would kind of just go out from there. What do P and Q have in common? Okay, they got 4. They also got 12. Now, see, I can't put 12 here because 4 belongs to all 3 of them, not just the 2. So I'm going to go ahead and put the 12 here. Okay. And then I would kind of just start working from there. Like, what's in Q that's also in R?
1.
Okay, so they have 1, 4, and that's it. So I've already got the 4, so I'm going to go ahead and put the 1 here. Oh, and the 9. Okay, there we go. Then I'll go ahead, P and R. They both have another one. 16. So I'm going to go ahead and put a 16 right here. Okay. Now, kind of just look at what's left, like what's exclusively P. I've already taken care of 4, 12, and 16. So the only one over here by itself is 8. For Q, I've already got 1, 4, 9, and 12. So I need 2, 3, and 6. And then for R, I've got 1, 4, 9, 16. So there's nothing else there. Okay. All right. And then, but I'm missing something. The rest of the numbers, there we go. They still got to go in the universe, even though they don't belong to any of those sets. So, like, what numbers am I talking about? Okay. 5, 7, 10, 1, 11, 13, and what else are we missing here? 14, 15? There you go. Okay. Reese, is that good?
Yep.
Okay. You asked about that, right? Who asked about? Oh, you did. Oh, Cigna. Okay. All right. So Cigna, is that good? All right. There we go. All right. Anything else? Okay, remember if you did get below an 80, you can retake that by our new policy. I think, remember when I set the deadline for that. We gave that yesterday. I'm probably thinking Monday morning is when I put that. I'd have to check what I'm going to be posting to the website. I'm actually going to do that next class period. But if you do have any more questions, definitely let me know. Okay, let's go ahead and save the changes there. Okay, well now we have another focus activity, new 6 weeks, or new grading period, I should say. We have a new focus activity. So I've got 4 planned for this first set. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and be bringing in old material that we hadn't seen for a while, and just others that I think we should keep up on. So this one right here, consider the following set of data, which is plotted on the scatter diagram below. All right. So we got X's and Y's. We have no idea what the quantities represent, but A says write down the coordinates of the mean point. Now, here it's referred to as the mean point. We also refer to that as the grand mean, if you think back to our lessons. So all I want to do is find the mean of both the X's and the Y's. Now, we're going to go ahead and do this in the calculator in just a moment, but somebody help me out because you got the calculator. Add up all the X's, okay, and divide by your value. Okay, that is pre-calculus. I don't need that. So it looks like we have 8 values here. What's the total of the first 2 through the last 2? So 2 plus 4 plus 7 plus 12 plus 4 plus 8 plus 9 plus 2. I got 48. Okay. Okay, so 48 divided by 8 is going to give me 6. Okay. Nolan, you have your hand up. Are you ready for the Y's? Oh, he's going to answer the X's. Okay. Anybody got the Y's ready? Joey? It is 13. The grand total of the sum is 104 divided by 8. That equals 13. Okay, so it occurs at 613. Okay. Write down the value of R, the Pearson's product moment correlation coefficient for this set of data. All right. Now, we're just going to go ahead and do this in the calculator. We're not going to worry about creating a table and doing it by hand. I did not have my calculator pulled up. All right. So let's be thinking about how to put my data in the calculator. Okay, let's see here. Close that out. Go home. Okay, so I want number 1, list and spreadsheets. Okay. All right, so let's put in X. Let's put in Y there. Okay, now when you're putting in the data into a spreadsheet here, what was the one thing you wanted to avoid? Okay, remember to avoid that row. Okay, that's how you're going to plug formulas into the spreadsheet. So let's say I have 2, 4, 7, 12, 4, 8, 9, and 2. Okay. Control 7 takes me right back up to the top. Okay, so then we got 5, 8. What else we got after that? 12. Okay, 26, 12, 14, 20, and 7. Okay. So I got my data in. I'm now in a blank cell in the spreadsheet, and I want the correlation coefficient R. How do I do that? What are the keystrokes? Okay, so I'm going to go to menu. Okay, statistics. Okay, stat calculations. Now, why would this be 2 variable? You have 2 different sets of data you're comparing. Okay, now remember, if it's a frequency table, that's just the 1. That just tells you the number of times that shows up. So this is 2 variable. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and put in the titles for the X list and the Y list. Okay. Now remember this frequency list right here. Okay. There's nothing you can do about it. Even if I go ahead and backspace it out, as soon as I tab next to it, it's just going to appear again. So don't worry about that. Okay. You only change that if you're dealing with a frequency list. It'll come here in D, and here we go. Now we got the mean for the Y's to be 13. That confirms that. We got the mean for the X's to be 6. And it looks like I'm getting a 0.952 from my correlation coefficient, 0.952. All right, so let's see if I can do this with the deal here. Point. There we go. So not bad. My handwriting's getting a little better with the mouse. I just need to work on my speed now. Okay, so what would you classify that as? How would you describe it? Definitely strong, very strong. Okay. Remember the intervals that when we talked about this originally, I believe it had from 0.75 above was strong, 0.5 to 0.75 was moderate, and so forth. Okay. And then it says go ahead and draw the regression line for y on x on the set of axes above. Okay, well, I'm going to go ahead and draw that line, but I definitely want to make sure to include what? What was the first thing we found? Okay, the grand mean, which was at 613, so I'd say it should go right here. Okay, and then I'll just go ahead and draw my line. That's probably one of the straightest lines I've ever drawn by hand in my life. Give myself a pat on the back. Okay, now again, I'm not going to worry about doing it by hand. Let's say I wanted the equation for this trend line, this regression line, the line of best fit, whatever it is that you want to call it. So let's go back over to the calculator. Okay. I'm going to go back home. Excuse me. How do I do that? Okay. So I'm going to go down here, data and statistics, and choose the histogram icon. Puts the ordered pairs on my, bless you. Okay. Plug in X and Y, so I hit tab, always choose the horizontal first. There we go. Tab Y. Okay. And menu. Regression. There you go. Okay, so there we go. Now let's pick up a few extra vocabulary words that we haven't heard in a while. What if I wanted to go ahead and input a value of X that fell within my data set? What do we call that? Interpolation. What if I was provided a value of X outside the data set? That's an extrapolation. Okay, do you really want to go outside your data set with your prediction equation? Okay, no, you don't, because you have one snapshot of time and there could be changes as you move forward. Okay, questions? How many people had this done before we start? Yeah, a few folks. Good, 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 good. Okay, well, let me control W out of here. Do you want to save it? All right, so that takes care of our first focus activity. Now, why are those important? Because at some point we're going to turn them in for a grade. Okay, guaranteed grade. All right, just keep them someplace safe. I am still making extra copies. I talked to you about how the number of copies I make has become extremely large, and I'm already down to like 25,000 for the entire rest of the school year. So I'm only making a few extra copies of the focus activities and notes and things of that nature. So please, please, it's very important, don't lose those. All right, there's going to be very few extra. Okay, it's almost going to be like winning the lottery if you lose one of those things. All right. Okay, so what have we been talking about lately? What are these tables called here? Truth tables, okay. And we've been spending a lot of time on a couple of concepts. We've been looking at intersection, we've been looking at union, what we call conjunction and disjunction. But there were two types of the disjunctions. One started with an I, one started with an E. The inclusive and the exclusive ideas, okay. So the inclusive, what we have right here, it was one or the other or both. The exclusive, you'll always know that's the exclusive if there's a bar below it. It looks like equality. Okay, in that case, it's one or the other, but not both. There we go. Okay, so I think we finished this up yesterday. And I think all we have left is just some truth tables. I think we're done. Okay. All right. So we'll wrap this up. Hopefully we'll have a little bit of time at the end, maybe to work on the assignment. We'll kind of see how that plays out. But the assignment that you picked up today is going to be due Friday. All right, so that'll give you a couple days to take a look at that. Let's see where we're at. Okay, so it looks like I have P, Q, and R. Okay, we don't know what they are just yet, at least what I see here. It says create a truth table for the intersection of P and Q negated union R. Okay, so you remember I said the other day, first off, how do I know that I should have 8 rows to this table? There you go. You take base 2 and you raise it to the number of propositions we have. Since we have P, Q, and R, 2 cubed is going to give me 8. Okay, so the more propositions, the larger these tables can get very, very quickly. But IB, typically, I've never seen them go beyond just 3 at once. I've never seen a 16-row truth table, not in IB anyway. Okay, and remember the other day I said, in order to get to the final statement, which they always place in the final column, you have to start from the smallest elements and kind of work your way forward. You've got a column for each of your propositions, P, Q, and R, and then you start working through the groups. You have the intersection, then you go ahead and have the negation, and then you have the union of that with R. So it's a progression. Okay, is everybody okay with that? Quiet today. Yes, okay, thank you, Joe. Perfect, Joe. Okay. All right. So look at how we set it up with a 8-row table. You'll notice the proposition P, the first 4 are true, then the next 4 are false. Then we take half of that. For Q, 2 trues, 2 false, 2 trues, 2 false. And then what are we doing by the time we get to R? We're alternating every row. Remember, there's only 8 possible outcomes if we have these 3 propositions. So that's what we're doing here. We're trying to get every possible outcome we have with having true or false in the first, second, or third slot. Okay, now what is this right here? Okay, that's the intersection. Okay, that's the conjunction. So how do I know when this is true? Okay, when they're both true, one and the other. Okay, so here I have true, true, because we're comparing P and Q. So we have a true, true, so that's a true. So you guys go right down the line and tell me what I should get. So the next one's false? Are you sure? Why is this one true? Yeah, see, we're not doing anything with R, and we won't even get to R until the final column here. We're only comparing these first 2. Okay, you only get a truth for the intersection if they're both true. So that is a true. But now what do you notice about the next one? That's false. False, 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 false. For the intersection, you only get a truth if they are both true, one and the other. Okay. Well, now, what's that? I've said it before, but what does that sideways L mean? That's negation. Okay. You could also have this little curvy symbol right there. So what does this do? I'm taking the negation of the intersection I just wrote. Yeah, so if it was a truth before, it's now a false and vice versa. So instead of true, true, all false, I'm going to say false, false, all true. Okay. Is everybody okay with that? Okay. And then now I want to take that previous column, the negation of the intersection, and I want to combine it with R. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and draw an arc to let me know which columns I want to focus on. Okay, because I don't need any other column to help me out here. All right, so why don't you take about 30 seconds, plug in what you believe that final column is going to be, whether truths or false. And the thing to remember is what we mentioned at the beginning. Don't say it out loud. Okay. The question you're asking yourself is, that's definitely a disjunction. It's the union. Okay, but is that the inclusive or is that the exclusive? Okay, and what does that mean? You okay? All right, so let's run down that column. Okay, now what was this again? Is that inclusive or exclusive? That's inclusive. What does that mean? One or the other, or both. Okay. So I'm looking at this third column right here, and I'm looking at this fifth one. Okay, so it looks like I have true, false. That's true. What about false, false? False. True, true. True. False, true. What about true, true? False, true. True, true. And false, true. Okay. So it looks like we got everything is true except for the second row. How many people got that right? Okay, so that's not bad. That's not bad. Okay, good. Good, good. Are there any questions on that? No? Okay. Well, let's move on. Okay, another example. I've got three propositions here. Px is a multiple of 5 less than 20. Qx is a multiple of 3 less than 20. Rx is an even number less than 20. All right, so it says write in words and create a truth table for this statement. All right, so it looks like we have a union, we got an intersection, we have a negation. Okay. So why don't we try that? Take about a minute, write out what you think can represent that expression using those propositions. Okay, now think big picture. There's probably always going to be a better way to write something, but especially in the beginning, you know, we're looking for certain key words. Okay, that's going to help out here. In fact, on the quiz yesterday, I can't remember what number it was. I think there was a problem that said describe in words P union Q. Okay. And there were certain words that I was looking for in there. Okay, like or would have worked. Union. Okay, disjunction. Okay, so same thing here. But with something this big, I probably wouldn't use the word disjunction. That's just putting a big word in an already big sentence. So. All right, so you still may be writing that sentence, but that's okay. Anybody want to tell me what they're writing? Anybody want to go ahead and say what they put down? Hey, Joey, what'd you get? I think that's perfect. Okay. Almost verbatim what I had up here. Okay. Again, like I said, very large sentence. Okay, could definitely be reworded, but especially in the beginning, you know, we're looking for certain key words just to kind of demonstrate that understanding. Anybody have something different they want to go ahead and share? John Henry? Good. Much, much better. Okay. All right. Any questions? Yep.
I did the part in the parentheses first because PEMDAS.
And then or?
Yeah.
And then or is a multiple of 5 less than 20? That's fine, yeah. The order doesn't necessarily matter as long as your intent gets across. You're still stating the purpose behind it. So I think that's fine. Okay, good, 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 good. Well, looks like we have 2 truth tables left, and then we are done with this lesson. Then starting tomorrow, we can get on with implication. Oh, I just remembered. Did I mention yesterday that we're getting a teaching candidate?
No.
Okay, so let me mention that very quickly. On Thursdays, until we get to Thanksgiving, there's going to be a teacher candidate in here with us from Texas Tech University. I'm blanking on the individual's name, and I apologize for that. But he'll be here with us tomorrow, so when you walk in and you see a stranger, it's okay. All right. So he's going to have the opportunity to introduce himself, probably tell you a little bit about himself. And as we go through the weeks, he'll probably start off doing some focus activities with you, maybe even taking over a lesson or two here and there. I don't know what all the supervisor at Tech is going to require of him to do. But it's like we're going to have a student teacher, but just one day a week. There you go, for a couple of months. There you go. All right. So let's take a look at this right here. So same type of table. Okay. But now this truth table is the previous expression that we were just looking at. Okay, so we have not R, Q, and not R, P or Q and not R. Okay, well, I'll go ahead and take care of the first couple here, and then let's see if we can get somebody to help me out with this. What does the negation mean again? Yeah, it's just the opposite. Truth becomes false and vice versa. So this is going to be the negation of R, so it should just be false, true, false, true, false, true, false, true, all the way down. Okay, just what I had for the original values of R. Okay, now I'm going to go ahead and take the intersection of Q with that. So what was this behavior again? It's only true if what? Both are true. Okay, so let's go straight down the line. True, false. False. Bless you. True, true. True. False, false. False, true. I heard a true and a false. Okay, false, true is false. What about a true, false? True, true. False, false. False, true. There we go. Okay. Would everybody agree? All right. Well, who wants to come on up and conclude the truth table for our statement? P or Q and not R. Reese, you want to do it? Hey, you're the first person I looked at. All right. Yay. Probably a good thing. Oh, I forgot to ask, did you want the microphone? You don't? Okay. Okay. Surprised. Okay. She says true, 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 false, true, false, false. What do you guys think? That's right. That's perfect. There we go. All there is to it. Okay. Any questions? Anybody having trouble with truth tables? Okay. Well, here's our last one, and then we're going to go ahead and represent that graphically by shading it on the Venn diagram here. So we have another one. Okay, this statement, and again, think about it, we've only got the two propositions, but we start with the smallest elements, P and Q. We have negations, then we look at the intersection, and finally the last column is your full expression. Okay, these truth tables are always progressive until you get to the final one. Okay. So would anybody be willing to come up here and fill in the entire truth table? No. So Jacob, you want to try? You can. Okay. All right. Jacob's on his way up. Yes. Okay, so he says true, false, false, false.
you right, but it's ugly.
Oh.
So I was right.
Okay, he ends up with a final column of true, false, false, true. Is he correct? Yes. Okay, everything's perfect. Good job. All right, does anybody want me to go back and talk about where he got any of those answers from? Is anybody confused? Okay. Now, the only thing remaining, let's shade in that diagram. Now, there's different, bless you, methods I showed you, but let's see if we can shade according to what we got in the truth table. Let's shade our expression. And then let's see if we have a brave soul who'd be willing to come up and show me what they got. Nobody is making eye contact with me, especially Reese. You should be able to see the same information. And truth tables are sometimes really difficult to decipher. You just need a little bit of practice with them. Think about the elements that belong to that set. Okay. And then as you go through, okay, you'll see which ones are going to start to belong and which ones won't. Fortunately, none of these are a really good example for me to kind of show you that. Not yet, anyway. Is there anybody who believes they have the correct shading and would like to show me? So many hands going up. I need just one. Oh, Reese, who are you pointing to? It looks like you were pointing to somebody. Who are you pointing to?
I wasn't pointing at anybody.
Oh, you sure? Would you like to pick somebody? Okay, let's do that.
Hey, Nolan.
Nolan. Man, there was no hesitation on that. Okay. That's okay. That's all right. We can kind of help you through it. Okay. So, what are we ultimately taking between the two groups here? What's our symbol mean? Or, okay, so we're taking the union, right? So let's start by shading the first group. What do I want between P and Q? The middle. Okay, so what do we describe that as? Starts with I. The intersection. Okay, so let's start there. Okay, so we're going to shade the intersection. Now, or I want to combine this with the intersection of not P and not Q. Okay, so now if we know what not P intersecting not Q is going to look like, we'll have the rest of our answer. Okay, so he's saying everything outside the two circles and the intersection. Jacob, you okay? What do you guys think? I think that's perfect. Good job. See, you do know what's going on. Nolan, you the mans.
That's a good one.
Well, they're all good, yeah. Why are we laughing? All right, questions. Good job. Good job. Okay. Now, we don't have a whole lot of time. I will try to go ahead and maybe give you some more time tomorrow because the assignment's going to be due on Friday. But you still have a good, 9 minutes. So at least try to go ahead and get some of those problems done. You know, maybe work with your villain buddy. If you have a question, let me know. Okay. Thank you very